Hey, it's Greg with Evolution Mental Health Services. So we're continuing talking about thoughts, how to take our thoughts from unhelpful, where we don't feel how we want to feel, where we're not behaving how we want to behave, where it's affecting us physically, and turning those thoughts in a more helpful, more productive direction, where we feel how we want to feel, behave how we want to behave, our body is even doing things we want it to do. So today we're going to talk about a particularly useful little thought game that we can play that is really helpful in relationships. It's helpful in other situations, but particularly in relationships. So I'll give you an example. Okay, you got two buddies, two guys that have been friends for years, close friends, and they rib each other, right? Because they're friends and that's what they do. Well, one guy has been poking fun at another guy in a way that's particularly hurtful to this guy. And in the sake of this, for the sake of this example, you have guy A. We'll call him John. John lost his parents at a young age and was adopted, but not immediately, not for a few years later. So spent several years without any real secure parental figures in his life. Guy B, we'll call him Tim. Tim likes to poke at John and call him an orphan and, you know, Oliver Twist and stuff like that. You know what I mean? To kind of poke at that wound. The way it is to Tim, that's a joke. Hurts John's feelings, right? So eventually, there's bad blood, argument ensues. So in a situation like this, what is really helpful is considering another perspective, particularly considering the other person's perspective. John and Tim are arguing, we get it, we understand why, right? Tim is thinking, dude, it's a joke, like we're friends, we've been friends for years, get over it. John is thinking, dude, that's a significant, part of my life that is very hurtful. Why are you bringing it up? If both of these guys could stop for a second and look at how the other person is thinking, we could probably squash this beef. If John can stop for a second and say, okay, how does Tim see this? I know Tim likes me. I know we've been friends for years. I know he's not trying to hurt my feelings. He just doesn't get that this is a problem for me. And then if Tim can look at John's perspective and say, okay, let me think about this from John's point of view. Obviously, it's painful to lose your parents. Obviously, no kid wants to go through that. Obviously, that's going to have lasting effects on a person's life. I understand why he's upset. I understand that that's probably not something, I didn't mean anything by it, but I get why maybe that's not something to joke about. If the two of them could take a moment and do that and see each other's point of view, now all of a sudden they're not angry, they're not fighting, they're apologizing, they're hugging, and everything's good. So if we can just take a moment in our relationships in conflict and ask ourselves, okay, what is this other person's perspective? What's their point of view on the situation? You'd be amazed at how far that can take us in our relationships. So that's it for today. Consider another perspective. Evolve, be who you want to be.